This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
If your fashion wish list lives rent-free in your brain, you need to be on Poshmark. With Poshmark, you're shopping millions of listings from thousands of closets, each curated by someone with their own style. Vintage finds, designer pieces, and everyday staples all in one place. Search for your favorites or let the discovery come to you. Poshmark makes it easy to find what you actually want to wear at prices that feel like a quiet win. Download the Poshmark app today and use code PODCAST10 when you sign up to get $10 off your first purchase.
62. Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms. Welcome to another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is your host, John Curran. Today's episode is one that's near and dear to my heart. And it's called, actually coming up with the title, I guess, as I'm talking. It's called Creating or Building a Foundation of Friendship, or something along those lines. So, friendship, I guess I kind of take it for granted that I have the number of friends that I have that are deep relationships, very ones that have lasted decades. For the majority of my life, really. I met a group of friends back when I was in college. I was 18 years old, and I'm about to turn 58. So you can do the math, because I'm not going to try to math, but it's a long time. And these are guys and some gals that I've known for many years, and we all have a very deep, long-standing connection. In fact, I'm going to be going skiing in next couple months in wintertime with them. This will be our second time that we've actually all gotten together just recently. You know, when you grow up and you get married, you have kids, your friendships are really can be stressed a lot from that, and you can grow apart as friends. But we have all made a concerted effort to stay in touch, in loose touch. Everyone's a little bit different. No one stays in touch with each other the same amount, but we all kind of talk to each other through each other as well. You know, it's kind of we pass things along about what others are doing and such. So, you know, it's long distance, and for the most part, and you know, you could say, oh, well, it's easy to have friends if you're long distance because you're not really spending time with them. So we all make it a very concerted effort to make time and create new memories together. But this episode is I'm going to do a series of episodes about friendship, but this particular episode is about the foundation of friendship. And I guess, you know, friendship has a different meaning, I guess, for everyone, but the way I think about friendship is that friendship is a two-way street. You don't have to be friends with everybody. You're not going to be friends with everybody, and you can be very selective. In fact, I think that you should be extremely selective in who you bring into your life and who bring people into your life to a certain level. Superficial relationships, just telling people, talking about the weather and about this or that, that's one thing, and we all need social interaction. But when you're talking about good times, that's easy. But when you're going through a difficult time, that's when you really need your friends. And I can tell you that if it wasn't for my friends, I would not be here today. They helped get me to right here where I'm at. So this foundation, a friendship started for me and this group of friends started a long, long time ago. So I'm going to take you back to, what year was it? 1985. Long time ago. My first year at the University of Florida. It was my first time away from home. I actually knew some kids that I went to high school with who also went to UF. And so I kind of thought, this is going to be great. I'm away from home for the first time. My mom's not here to help me, walk across the street by myself. I came from a home with an overprotective mother, and I was glad to be away from the house. I know how my kids feel. So, because I felt the same exact way. I think it's natural. You want to get out there on your own. But once you get out there on your own, you realize you're on your own. And it's good to have people that share common interests, that you have some type of connection with. And I didn't meet my group of friends just... I guess I met the majority of them kind of all at once, but also at different times. I also have a very, very good friend who I met at the same time as this group who I consider to be a brother and at the same level as this group of friends that I have. He is really like a brother to me, and then in class by himself. So I have many different friendships, many different types of friendships, and I think they're individual to the person that you're being a friend with. But again, this is a two-way street, and you can choose who your friends are, and you really can't force people to be your friend. One of the things I really hated was, I think I was in maybe middle school, where this guy was like, I'm going to be you're my best friend. I'm like, dude, I just met you. You are not my best friend. You don't even know me as a person. Back off, and it just kind of puts me off. So you don't want to be too friendly in the beginning. I think a little coy, maybe kind of taken back, kind of reserved, is not a bad thing. I'm not saying don't be yourself. You should be yourself. And some people will say, just be yourself. And if they don't accept you for who you are, then screw them. And that's not really that bad of advice. But, sometimes you have a personality that takes a little getting used to, or you have to kind of warm up to it. And if you recognize that with yourself, then maybe you do want to be a little bit reserved. And to not let the cat out of the bag. I don't know why I would say cat out of the bag, but, it's not that we're hiding things, but it's kind of funny. Sometimes I think we think we're hiding things, and we're not. Think of people who are gay and closeted. they think they're fooling the world by acting straight, but everyone and their mother, especially their mother, knows that they're not. Now, everyone has their own reasons for being closeted, and if you are closeted, I wish you luck. I know that's got to be, I don't know. I think that has to be a very difficult thing. Friends that I know have come out of the closet. I know it was very difficult and challenging for them. And I have a deep respect, actually, for that. In fact, when I lived in Atlanta, I met a lot of people who were gay. I think I was the second or third largest gay population in the United States at the time when I lived there in the 90s. But, people are just trying to live their life and just be themselves. And I had a huge respect for people who were just who they are. And you know what? If people don't like who you are, screw them. I have a tremendous respect for that. I personally, I don't understand the attraction, but that's not for me to decide, and I really don't care who you're attracted to. Anyhow, back to the foundation of friendship. So sometimes you make they say, first impressions mean everything, and making a strong first impression with a friend could involve, finding some common ground. That's kind of the first step. I think you have to have things in common with friends, but it just has to be a little bit, because we're all different. And honestly, I think we all learn from each other, and we should learn from each other. So, if you have an interest in music, then you should seek people who also have interests in music, who also play instruments. And, there's all different ways of doing that. Going out to meetups, just going out, just getting out there. You have to get out there in order to meet people. If you're going to sit around on your couch and just complain about not having friends, that's on you, because you need to get up and get out and circulate amongst others. And that way you have a choice. You have a chance of meeting someone that you might be friends with. Now, my kids and my friends will all back me up on this, that I don't know any strangers. When I'm out and about, I'm talking to the cashier at the grocery store. I'm talking to, that even the shopper maybe in the grocery store, and saying, "Oh, that looks good," or that brand of pizza, frozen pizza that you're buying is awesome, or something. I can start a conversation with somebody, and I guess that's a good way to kind of break the foundation. You gotta break ground. Just like with the foundation of a house, you gotta get tools, have the tools necessary to dig down into that soil that you're going to grow friendship from. But again, you have to have common interest, and sometimes when you talk to people, you realize that you do have some common interests, but totally different, and it's sometimes really refreshing just to see another person's point of view. So it's good to have shared interests, but recognize that not everyone is going to view things the same way, and be open to allow them to express themselves, and show them the same respect that you would want. Treat them as you would treat yourself, or how you would want yourself treated. Treat people with respect, and if they're trying to talk, listen. Shut up and listen. I have a hard time with this. I fully admit this. But my wife never listens to the show, so she can't really hold this against me. So I try to listen. I'm actually getting a lot better at listening and trying to understand what people are saying and maybe relating to how they're feeling or what they're going through. Trust and honesty is really key. And trust and honesty is the foundation, really, of all relationships, especially where communication is directly impacted by your ability to trust that person and believe that they're honest or not. Just think of it this way. When you're first meeting someone, you don't know them. You don't know who they are. You don't know their backgrounds. You know nothing about them. You should be a little weary of them. You don't know if this is a good person or a bad person. People will say, we teach our kids stranger danger. Stay away from strangers. And that's true for adults as much as children. Listen to your senses, your intuition, and if something feels off, exit, get out. Don't put yourself in a position of danger trying to meet friends. Don't be naive, and just think, have a little weariness and keep your eye open, because there are dangerous people out there. Now, I do believe there are good, honest people, and more good, honest people than dangerous ones. I'm just saying, keep your eye open. This is a swift kick in the ass, and try to keep things real on here. And, fact is that there are good and bad people out there. We all have to live together. So, you have to have some level of trust and honesty, but it's hard these days, isn't it? Now, I can remember back a few years ago, more than a few years ago, my wife and I were in Long Beach, California, and I was out there on some business, and she flew out. We had an extended weekend. This was, I think, when our oldest daughter was just a baby, like first time away. And we're sitting out on Long Beach at a restaurant, having brunch, just overlooking the ocean. It was a fantastic meal, and just start talking to this couple that was across the table from us, across the aisle. And it turned out that they were teachers. And it turned out, came out that I was from Florida. My dad had a sailboat, and the guy says, "Hey, he says, we're getting something to eat, and we're going out on my sailboat for an afternoon cruise." He says, "You guys want to come along? It'd be a lot of fun." And I thought, I don't know this couple. They could be swingers or something, and force us to do something that we don't want to do. And, it could be very awkward, very dangerous. But then I figured, what? I know how to swim. I'll swim back. We took a chance with that couple. And we had a delightful afternoon. They were so nice. We had such a great time. And we made some friends. I lost contact with them through the years. But, I always think back about how we were open to that, and we really could have gotten in trouble. Those people could have been not good, but I wasn't getting that from them. They were good people, and we had a delightful time, and saw California from a local's perspective. Out on the sailboat, saw the sea lions, and had wine and cheese and everything. It was great. So I wouldn't have had that experience had I not taken a chance. Now, did those people turn into lifelong friends? No, they didn't. I've lost touch with them. But they could have. And you have to open yourselves up to the possibility. And, if I didn't meet those people, there's no zero possibility of them becoming friends. So put yourself out there, and you know what? If you don't make a good impression, so what? If it means that much to them, then so be it. Don't beat yourself up. Again, you don't have to be friends with just anybody. You can choose who you want to be friends with, just like they can. So it's all good. Don't make a big deal out of trying to become someone's friend. And maybe if you are doing that, you should think about why. Now, this is a great point to segment or to pivot to, you really need to be a friend to yourself. Okay? Listen to what you have to say. Listen to yourself and try to help your friend out. Show compassion, show caring. But I really do believe that you have to love yourself and be a friend to yourself before you can be a true friend with someone else. As I said, friendship is a two-way street. You have to be able to stand your own. And I've had plenty of so-called friends who tried to walk over me. And I can put up with things for a while. I could think of a guy I went to high school with who I thought I was really good friends with, and knew him in college, knew him in high school, knew him after college, after grad school. We took trips, guy trips out to, Lake Tahoe and Reno, Nevada, and had some good times. Real good times. Some of them I don't remember all too well, but they were good times. But he really had a drinking problem, and he was getting DUIs. He got a couple DUIs, and he would not stay off the road. And I couldn't handle that. I felt like he was putting me and others in danger by doing that. He would not listen. When my wife and I got married, he was in my wedding party, and I told him, I said, "Hey, I'll get you a hotel room, but I don't want you driving. Promise me that you're not going to drive, because you're going to put my family at risk, and I could be held financially accountable if you drive drunk and hurt or kill somebody on my alcohol at my wedding." And he promised. Well, come to find out after the wedding or after the honeymoon that, yeah, he did drive home drunk, and he didn't stay, and he was sloshed. I had to say goodbye to him, and that really wasn't what broke the camel's back. He also, he bought that trip to the airline tickets out to Vegas, and I was in college, and I told him I didn't want to go. I couldn't go. I couldn't afford it. And he's like, "Don't worry about the money. You'll make money after you get out of after you graduate. Let's go. I'll pay for the ticket. You pay me back." It was like $400, I think. And he started like he wanted his money back. After I got married, and that wasn't a problem because I understood I owed them the money. But he starts talking about how he knew that we got all this money from our wedding, and how about I loan him like 10 grand or something like that. I'm like, first of all, that's not my money. That's my wife and I. That's our money, and we're going to use that to put a down payment on our first house. No, I'm not going to do that. And it kind of ended the friendship. I paid him off, and I told him, "Here's your money." I said, "Don't say a thing. I'm going to hit you in the face." And I walked away. and he was bigger than me. I would get my ass beat, but I felt good, and I walked away, and I still remember the smile on my face when I did that. He was, as I think back on the times, had a lot of fun times. A lot of fun and good times, and I don't regret them. But he caused me a lot more problems and got me in a lot more trouble than I would have if he wasn't around. And again, you need to consider who your friends are. Keep your circle tight, and recognize that you can be exclusive, man. You can determine who's in your group and who's not. And it's important that you be discerning, because your friends, they do make a huge impression on you, and they help shape us and help us. They either help us be better or worse, or maybe sometimes a combination of the both, too. So anyhow, this is about the foundation of friendship, and I started talking about how this group of friends, when I was first in college, I met these group of friends in the dorms. I'm going to talk to, I call them the gang, I call them trouble, call them the misfit toys, call them a lot of things, but they're brothers and sisters to me. And I've learned a lot about myself in the process. And I would encourage all of you to go out and seek friends that you connect with. It makes life so much more fun when you have someone that you can relate to and enjoy life. And sometimes it's for things that you do and you like to do. Like, I like to go hiking, so I could start maybe a hiking group or something like that. And I'd be willing to actually do that. I know that Tommy's widow, Jen, she loves to go hiking, and we've actually talked about creating kind of an outing to go hiking along the Appalachian Trail, kind of doing a meetup and do maybe an overnight hike. If you're interested in that, send me an email, john@swiftkickinatheass.com. Make some friends who want to live on their terms. In any case, I think I'm going to end with the foundation, but how do you know if a friend is a friend? I've thought many people were friends, and it turns out they weren't such great friends. So friends are good friends until they're not, I guess. Sadly, there are some things that you won't know about people until time passes. And even in my group of friends that I have right now, who's a pretty tight-knit group, there's some stressors going on in that relationship. A couple of guys are kind of who have been great friends for years and years are kind of at a crossroads. I don't know. But, the group may fragment from that, which I'm not looking forward to, but I think we'll get through it. One of those people, I'm going to end it with this, really taught me what a friend is. I was about ready to graduate from college, and I had a really good-looking girlfriend. I had a sports car. Yeah, it was kind of a sports car. It was a Volvo Turbo, but it had a 4-speed with overdrive and it was turbocharged, and man, that car was a sleeper. It was so fast. Anyhow, I had a motorcycle as well. I was graduating. I had a job. I had money. I had a girlfriend. Life was great. But I was being a jerk. And my friend actually sat me down and told me, well, he told me that I was being a jerk. And if I kept on acting this way, that I would become a jerk permanently. Maybe he didn't use the word jerk. But in any case, he sat me down and told me, he says, John, I realize you got everything going for you right now. You got a good looking girlfriend, you're, graduating, all these great things, but you're being a jerk and you're mistreating people. And, I wasn't abusive, or I guess I was just being a jerk. I don't really recall exactly what I was doing, but, I took it to heart. And, I guess that's when I really started trying to listen to what my friends had to say. Because you value your friends, right? And if you can't listen to what they have to say and value what they say, then what are you doing? Be around people that you value and that value you, and that if you have nothing to give, they don't care. They're still going to love you all the same. Because when the good times are good, it's easy to be a friend. But when bad times come along, and they do all the time, life is full of ups and downs. You need your friends. And that's the true test of friendship, I think, is that a good friend is going to be there and help you get through those bad times. Now, they might not be able to, really get you out of that mess, but they can help be there for you as much as they can. Again, this does not take away friendships, doesn't take away personal responsibility. I think it actually adds to personal responsibility, because you have a responsibility, I think, as a friend, to be open and honest with that other person, to encourage them and to be an advocate for them. A good friend becomes like a family member. And I'm so thankful for the friends that I have. And, our kids, we're now getting, our kids are growing. Some of them are all the way out of the house. But, as I get older, life's going to change again, and we're going to get more opportunities to travel and to gather and create more memories. But our kids will also be included, and their kids know each other and they hang out. So it's cool. It's awesome. We've created a family of our own, this family bond, and it's awesome. So I'm going to share more about that, but that's really about the beginning of foundations of friendship. You have to start somewhere, and it will build and accumulate over time. Even with Tommy, my old co-host, Tommy and I weren't always friends. I was, looking back, I finally got our YouTube channel up and going again. I finally got passwords after 4 years. But Tommy and I, our friendship waxed and waned. We weren't always tight. There was a period of time where we were really pissed at each other. We didn't talk. We had different groups of friends. And we came together. We put those differences aside, and we're like brothers again, because we had so many shared experiences. And I can't change what happened to Tom, but I can share what I learned from that relationship. And it's painful losing a brother, but I'm thankful for the time that we shared. And, one day my time's going to come. So when it's my time, I plan on leaving just a ocean full of tears, because that means that, people cared about you, and they're going to miss you. And it has its place in our world. We need compassion. We need understanding. We need to relate to one another. And I find that the best place to start is within ourselves. We need to be happy with ourselves. And the happier you are with yourself, the more you can share that joy with others. So I'm going to give you a kick in the ass right now to look inward. And if there's something that's lacking or missing, work on that. Advocate that you work on that, and try to make it a non-issue. So until the next time, this is your host, John Curran. This is a swift kick in the ass. Peace. This marks the end of another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass, placing it directly in the can. As much as I like to talk, even I have my limits. It's time to go. Catch me on the next show. For better or worse, whether you like us or not, please leave comments wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter. Visit our home on the interweb. I think you can leave me a voicemail there. You can also email me at john@aswiftkickintheass.com. It's been my extreme pleasure. I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope you got your ass moving. Until then, until the next time, I'm out of here. Peace.